time, he discovered that Jason was consuming a lot of alcohol and that he was taking a medicine called Depakote. Depakote is usually prescribed for seizures and a condition called rage disorder and should never be taken with alcohol. And after further research, they found that just 6 months before the murders, Jason said that he was losing control. Deere then discovered that Jason suffered from a condition called intermittent rage disorder. And because the murders showed signs of being rage killings, Deere wanted to find out how someone with the condition would behave.
What it usually refers to is a person who has moments when they may tend to be very, very calm, and then for what they may consider good reason, they may move into a state of extreme rage and extreme kind of violence. Frequently, that diagnosis is associated with a seizure kind of disorder, and the medication that's usually used is one that tends to control seizure activity.
Now, 2 months prior to the murders of Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman, I know from a previous girlfriend that my suspect quit using his Depakote. And the girlfriend said, "Why are you not taking your Depakote anymore?" And he said, "The stuff is making me feel like shit." What would you think then?
If in fact he has seizure activity, then he may be just a walking time bomb.
Deere then found that around the same time as Jason stopped taking Depakote, he'd made another attack, this time on girlfriend Jennifer Green.
Headlines: OJ's son tries to kill girlfriend. I couldn't believe what I was reading. There it was, a picture of Jason, a picture of Jennifer Green, and a story where she admitted to friends that she was in fear of her life and that he had drugged her out of a car. And actually Jason knocked her to the ground and was beating her. Dee Dee verified it. Dee Dee was there. He had his hands around her throat and was trying to choke her to death. Why didn't the police ever interview him? Because they were convinced that OJ was guilty. I'm not.
According to the police investigation, Jason had no motive.
He was very quickly eliminated. He had alibis. We knew his whereabouts. And of course, you know, we're still looking at the ability to do the crime or the motive, and those things had to fit, and he was just eliminated very quickly, actually.
But Bill Deere disagrees. He feels that Jason did have a possible motive.
On the night of June 12th, Nicole Simpson, Justin, Sydney, and her entire family were scheduled to arrive not at Messalunas, but at Jackson's Restaurant at 8908 Beverly Drive in Beverly Hills, California, for a dinner that was being prepared by Jason Simpson, OJ's son. But she never showed up. I wondered how it felt for a young man, because in it, the question was asked, "Had you ever cooked for them before?" "No." "You ever cooked for your dad?" "No." "Dad never's come to your restaurants where you work?" "No." Jason had to have been embarrassed that night, laying out preparations for 11 people to come to Jackson's Restaurant and nobody showing up. God, that had to hurt.
And there was more. Jason had also been accused of stalking. He had followed ex-girlfriend Dee Dee after they had broken up.
And even when she tried to get away from him, after the time he cut off all her hair, she went to New York. And guess who followed her? Jason. Jason used his father's apartment, OJ's, there in New York, to stalk her.
Nicole also had complained of a stalker. Before she was murdered, Nicole told former police officer and family friend Ron Shipp that she thought it might have been Jason.
When she called me about the prowler, she said there was 2 people that she thought it could have been. She says, I'm not sure who it was. She says, it was either OJ or Jason. And I'm thinking, here again, I'm thinking to myself, OJ or Jason.
Nicole had taken Jason out to various nightclubs. Could he have become infatuated with her?
I mean, you got this guy, she's taking him out dancing all the time, and they're having a great times, but yeah, that's always a possibility. And like I said, I'll never forget that, her saying that to me, you know, that she thought I was OJ or Jason.
Jason declined to be interviewed for this film. Currently, the evidence that links him to the crime is circumstantial, and there is no proof of his involvement. The police failed to examine the inconsistencies in Jason's story. But there was also another major line of inquiry that the authorities believing that Simpson was the sole suspect. They also dismissed the leads provided by Nicole and Simpson's other life, involving sex and drugs, which might have provided another motive for the murders.
This case is in the West End, or West LA, or West Hollywood. Drug usage is like tea, it's like coffee. So the drug issue was there, no question about that. And the rage of the way the homicide took place could also lead a reasonable person to conclude that it's got to be somebody crazy to do something like that.
During the year before her death, Nicole and her friends were moving in drug-related circles. Metzaluna's restaurant was widely rumored to be a place to buy drugs, and Ron Goldman was alleged to sell them. What's more, just a year before the murders, Goldman's friend and nightclub owner Brett Cantor was killed in a similar savage knife attack. And other waiters working for the Metzaluna chain were murdered or went missing within 18 months. Simpson was also known to take cocaine. So could his or Nicole's involvement with drugs provide an explanation for the murders? Author Donald Freed believes it may shed light on Simpson's presence at the crime scene and his strange behavior.
I think this is a drugs murder. I think Mr. Simpson knows basically who did it. I think his guilt is based not on what he did, but on what he did not do. I believe he feels he may have left his children as hostages to fortune. He says that he will never forgive himself for not having followed the advice of a friend of Miss Brown's who had said, get your ex-wife and your children out of here. There was something wrong. I think he hints broadly at the context of the murder. What he does not say, and what keeps him from ever clearing his name, perhaps, is that to really clear his name, he would have to speak of what he knew, and that involves drugs and all sorts of things that perhaps are more painful almost than being wrongfully accused of murder.
And from this murky world of drugs, there was a major lead which even the police wanted to investigate further. But the district attorney's office dismissed it as pure fabrication. Just 5 weeks after the murders, a story surfaced which showed that Nicole was being stalked by someone else. Police in Newport Beach, just south of Los Angeles, sent out a press release. It stated that they had convicted a man who had stolen the car of Simpson's then-girlfriend, Paula Barbieri. When they arrested the man, named Bill Waz, they also discovered that he had a notebook detailing surveillance on Nicole. So if Nicole was being stalked, could this be part of a conspiracy that led to her murder?
Whoa, this is interesting. I mean, I can remember the thrill, the adrenaline was rushing through the entire press corps that day when all of a sudden it came out. Somebody was stalking Nicole Brown Simpson in December, and he's in jail with a diary, and one of the reasons he's in jail is for stealing Paula Barbieri's truck. Whoa, a lot of coincidences here, a lot of interest.
CNN raced to get the news story.
Why did they hire you to follow Nicole?
They wanted to know who she was seeing, who she was meeting.
Who hired you? Could you tell me? You don't want to tell me?
I can't tell you yet. That's pushing it. You know, I have my life too, you know. It's not much, but it's all I got.
The Los Angeles police took Waz's story seriously too. They sent one of their most experienced murder detectives on the case to Calipatria prison to check it out.
We flew down there and